Greetings and welcome back to the weekly news roundup. Well, I hope the internet holds tonight as well. In fairly the same place I was last week, which was questionable, but ended up being okay. Didn't drop many, if any, frames last week. I'm a little higher up on the hill, so you get a little bit better. But I've had really weird results with internet. So much so, the Starlink dish is mounted on my roof, but I'm only turning it on when I really feel like I need to. And I monitored the internet for about a dozen times for an hour leading up to the show. And it looks like it's good, so hopefully it is. Hopefully OBS doesn't crash on us. Hopefully all goes well, but you never know these days, right? Yeah. I think if there's anything else special going on calendar-wise, I don't think so, other than just briefly. We talked very, very briefly about Ivan making an appearance on the show, and we'll talk eventually. We might have time tomorrow. Maybe we'll have time this week. It may not be something that would happen next week. Maybe the week after we might be able to figure something out. But anyway, we will keep you informed on that. That was something that a couple people had asked about, and so we'll go ahead and look into that, and it might match into some plans I was thinking about for the show, although I wasn't thinking about it for now. Maybe a little bit later making some changes, but that is what I want to start with. Of course, if you want to help support the channel, have a look over at the website, switchedtolinux.com/support. We have links there to our locals, Patreon, and Subscribestar. One of the articles we are covering in the news is funny. It is related to Patreon and Apple really telling Patreon how their business model has to be. The changes that they're requiring, I actually put into effect a while ago. That's like the quote-unquote subscription type model, as much as I'm not a fan of subscription services. But that was something Apple is kind of forcing. And with a fascinating article that happened back in August that I missed, and I don't know how I missed it. Maybe I did glance by it. Maybe it didn't make its way into the mainstream tech stuff. But all that being said, as part of that, it gives us a warning about why we should not place too much emphasis on some of these services. And so my overall point here is that when we are using services like Google and like Microsoft and like Apple and like Meta, we have to use them with a deep knowledge of the warnings. It is like if you are using a little pew-pew. It is not like we need to ban it all. It's you need to recognize the danger of the device and take the appropriate steps to not harm yourself or others in the process. So what we're going to do here is let's go ahead and start with our first article. And this is the first one I saw. Google settles the privacy lawsuit for $68 whopping million, which I think was less than like 0.1% of their profit from this. This deals with that whole microphone conspiracy. So, you know, you're over there and you got your smartphone, you're visiting a friend, and you're sitting there at a table, your smartphone's there, you're having some latte or something at some Starbucks, you know, going bankrupt, drinking their bad coffee, and you're just talking about, you know, something random. And then all of a sudden you pick up your phone because you're completely addicted, and you look at your scroll and wow, there's something there for what you just heard, you know. And the thing is that the lawsuit here alleges that Google's microphones has been spying on you and collecting all of that data and sending it to the advertising networks, which does make a lot of sense because that's been the thing for a long time. Is it Facebook? Is it Google? Well, in this case, it seems to be Google. And the problem is that this has been alleged, and Google's like, well, we're just going to go ahead and settle this so that we don't go through the litigation. And one of the major reasons you don't want to go through the litigation if you're Google is because if you go through the litigations, you are making the assertion to say, we are not doing anything, and Google would actually have to open their proprietary source code to the defense. This is the funny thing about lawsuits. Now, there's ways around it. There's ways that companies can be like, well, no, we can't show them our proprietary code, and some judges fall for that and some of them don't. But in the letter of the law, if I say I have this allegation because it seems to be like 5 million people have all alleged they had a conversation about something over Starbucks coffee, they pick up their phone and the next thing they see is an ad about that conversation they just had. Google what's going on. And if Google says that is not happening, we are going to defend ourselves in the court to prove we are fine, they have to open up that source code and we get to see exactly what's going on. And Google's like, don't look at that guy behind the curtain over there. And that really is the principle here. So this is the one tied directly to the microphone stuff, which, by the way, this is the very stuff that caused Louis Rossmann to start considering things about privacy. He logs into his Google account one day and sees these voice recordings going back 12 years inside the account. And of course, seeing that Google can use this information as part of the advertising stuff. And I got this fly. There's a whole van. Go somewhere else, please. All right. So they agreed to pay a $68 million settlement claiming that its voice-activated assistant spied inappropriately on smartphone users, violating their privacy. So the smartphone users accused Google, a unit of Alphabet, of illegally recording and disseminating private conversations after a Google Assistant was triggered in order to send them target advertising. Users objected to receiving ads after using Google Assistant misperceived what they said as a hot words known as false positives. Google, of course, denied any wrongdoing, but settled to avoid the risk of exposing their proprietary... They say they settled to avoid the risk, cost, and uncertainty of litigation. The court papers show they're subjected to false accepts since May 18th, 2016. So going back almost 10 years, if you had a Google phone and it woke up by you saying anything other than, hey, Google, or whatever your activation word is, now, of course, can you prove that? Then you can get a settlement, which will probably be, I don't know, maybe $8 to $20, as we'll see here shortly. So, of course, Apple reached a similar settlement of $95 million last year for the same thing. Not the B points out that this $68 million when they had an annual revenue of $350 billion is effectively like Google picking up a penny from the ground and giving it to the court and saying, okay, here you go. We're going to go ahead and give you this. Now, of course, this is interestingly significant because it is this week that the Apple payouts for the same thing Apple did hit the news. And so $95 million payout begins compensating users for Siri listening in by what you're doing. And people have said that they are seeing deposits as low as $8 per device. And the actual ruling suggests that it is a cap of $20 per device. So if you got 3 Apple devices, you could see up to $60. But most people are seeing that actual number closer to $8. So there you go. Apple made a lot of money. They stole a bunch of your voice data. They sent it to a company, and here is your $8 to $20 per device. Thank you very much for making us a lot of money, you pleb. Don't worry. We'll continue to do this. We just won't admit any guilt because they're doing the exact same thing. They want to settle it without any guilt. Why? Because if you were to try and litigate this, they'd have to open the source code up and allow a whole bunch of people see what's going on under the hood going, well, that's interesting kind of stuff. And Google's like, no, we don't really want to do that. Here's a couple of peanuts, people. Here's a couple of pennies, It's like a wealthy guy during the Depression era walking outside and throwing pennies around, all the little boys running around picking them up. Yeah, I'm thinking of that scene in The Illusionist, right? He walks out of the theater and just starts magically throwing coins in this crowd of little beggar kids, and so that really is what we see. But then I remember seeing another case not too long ago, and I don't remember if we covered it. Maybe we threw it into a QuickLines. And then I just did a little bit of research and I found 4 more cases just this year of Google settling privacy violations without admitting any guilt. So they're just sitting here settling, but saying, we're not guilty of anything. Just take a couple $1 million and we'll go. We'll take our $350 billion and head on off to the bank with it. So this was a case here that judge approves a $30 million settlement in YouTube child privacy case. So around 1 million legitimate claims from the class, with each member awarded $20 to $30 over Google's data collection practices. This relates to YouTube. And so of course, there is a kids version of the YouTube app, and where you're dealing with kids' data, you're not supposed to collect data and use that information. But it turns out that they were using this information. I think we did cover this. Maybe it was last week or 2 weeks ago. This was actually being collected by an advertising network arm of YouTube itself, and using the information collected on the children to market ads to those users. And so, of course, we're not guilty, judge, but here, we'll pay you $30 million out of our, $630 billion profits from last year. And then, of course, I remembered another one. This goes back. Maybe this is the one we did last week. I can't even remember anymore. There's so many of these, I can't even remember. This one, they agreed to $8.25 million settlement. That one's, I think this is the one we covered last week, because this is peanuts. Over the Play Store children's privacy case. Okay, this is, I think, the one using it. I can't even keep these cases straight, okay? I read all these articles. I just can't keep them straight. So they agreed to pay $8.25 million to resolve claims it violated COPA. The tech giant allegedly collected information from kids under the age of 13 without parental consent. This had to do with the App Store usage. So, when they downloaded or used an app from Google Play Stores and had their personal information collected by Google. And, of course, this deals with the Design for Families, which is supposed to have this. But one of the challenges we're seeing is a lot of these apps had the basically, by the parent agreeing to use this, they might sign away their COPA rights. We just don't know. This is actually one that used AdMob, which is Google's system software. So the YouTube one was a different one from the Play Store one. But, they didn't, they're not guilty of that either. They just decided to settle it. And then there was this one where they paid $630 million. I mean, that one there is like 0.1%, right? Is that $630 million? Is that like 0.1% of the $630 billion? Am I doing my math right on the fly? So $630 million Google Play Store class action lawsuit. This one is from December. Of course, they did not admit any wrongdoing here either. They just like, okay, here, have a couple of million more dollars, and we'll just keep our black box to ourselves. According to this one, from all 50 states, Google violated antitrust laws by monopolizing app distribution and in-app billing services. Of course, how are they doing? What are they doing about this monopoly law this time? Well, this time they're actually, restricting sideloading of apps to, firm up that monopoly. I am so happy that the government's warnings are working. You have no idea. Ken Paxton at Texas, at least he got into the billions. Okay, we got to give Ken Paxton credit for this one. He's, I think, in Texas. I think he's running as one of the Texas state senators in the next election. So if you guys are from Texas, you might think about voting for him. He's been doing a pretty good job. Ken Paxton secures $1.375 billion. Remember, this is a company that makes $630 billion a year. So that is... okay, so that means the other one was less. I don't even know. It's like a couple more peanuts, right? This was Google handing a $10 bill, not a penny. Okay, here's a $10 bill, Ken Paxton. All right, so this one is with Google. Which one was this one? Okay, tracking and collecting users' private data regarding geolocation, incognito services, and biometric data. So collecting a bunch of stuff that you didn't know they were collecting. Now, the incognito one, I kind of like, incognito is not a privacy mode. We need to recognize that, okay? We just need to. And that's one of those things that we need to keep in mind. Biometric data, collecting biometric data without your knowledge, that is a huge no-no in Illinois, maybe in Texas, but I know Illinois has the strongest anti-biometric laws in the nation. We should use that state as a model for some of this. And then geolocation. A lot of people, there were multiple places you would need to turn location on or off in order to properly turn it off. Of course, I always tell people, turn off location on your phone at all times unless it's explicitly needed. If you have some app on your phone that always needs it on for whatever weird service it's doing, uninstall the app. Okay, its purpose is to collect your location data to sell it to people. That is the case. Maybe it's like, well, I'm using Google Maps to drive stuff. Stop doing that. Major privacy violation. A car GPS costs $100 and it works better. Okay, that's what it's for. And it's a better screen. It's easier to use. It's easier to use when you're driving. It's safer to use. Do that instead. All right. But he gets this. Of course, Google also does not admit to any wrongdoing. He just says, all right, Ken, you got us. Here, we'll hand you the $10 bill because you've been doing a lot of neat stuff. So they did that one. Of course, no admission of guilt. Just take some money, go away, distribute this among the peons, give them a couple bucks each maybe, and we'll be good. All right. Now, here's the thing, is that if you're using Google services and you know what you're doing and you like those Google services, that's fine. Just be aware of what you're doing. But we have to have a wider conversation, particularly when it comes to your students. And the one that I missed this week, that I saw a video on YouTube just yesterday on this. And while I was researching this topic, I'm like, well, that's serendipitous. In fact, Ivan, if you can find that video and paste it into the comments, it's a really small channel and it looks like it's a human-run video. I'm not sure if that one was AI or not, but I did research the content. It's really good. In fact, the EFF had some commentary on it. And it's a place it's nearby. I go to church in this area sometimes, which is very interesting. So I'm actually going to ask around when I get there if anybody knows this kid. It'd be an interesting conversation. Or the parents, probably better conversation. Of course, they're in the midst of a lawsuit, so don't know if they're going to say anything more than is available in the public record. But what happened here is a lot of your schools use Google or Microsoft services. In this case, at Marana High School area, this is they're using Google services. And the school district is issuing these Chromebooks, and these Chromebooks have not one, not two, but 3 different spyware applications installed on them. And the kid was, he got a bad grade on an English paper, and I don't know if he legitimately did a good job in it, and it was just marked bad or what it was. But his mom suggests, hey, email your teacher and ask to talk about the grade. So the kid's like, great. So he pulls up his computer, he starts drafting an email. And then he is sitting in the room with his mother before school starts, before school hours. And as a joke, he types in a fairly uncouth thing. And he types a series of them, but the one that got him in trouble is he typed, gang, give me a better grade or I shoot up the school, homie. Okay, that's what he types. Now, never sent that in an email. He typed it down, speaking it as a joke to his mother in gangster voice, and then deleted the line. Within an hour, the school had sent a screenshot of this message suspending him for violent behavior. Okay. So, like Session Replay, which we've talked about before, Session Replay is a JavaScript library installed on many web pages, particularly web pages with contact forms or other data collection forms that will, they literally are keyloggers in JavaScript embedded on the website that as you're typing out information, even if you do not submit that form, if you start typing out information and decide afterwards, I don't want to fill out that form, the data you typed into that form is still submitted to that business anyway. That's effectively what they were doing. Constantly monitoring the screen on his computer while he is at home. Now, what the school's district, so they end up suing the school district because they would not overturn the suspension. They end up suing the school district for violation of constitutional rights like Fourth Amendment rights and violation of First Amendment rights, saying that this is an event that did not happen on school property and was not a credible threat. Now, there are actually a couple of lawsuits which EFF have highlighted. One of these lawsuits in Mahoney Area School District versus BL and through Levy, 2021, the court further held schools have less leeway to regulate speech when that speech occurs off campus. Importantly, the court stated that schools should have a limited ability to punish off-campus speech because, quote, from the students' perspectives, regulations of off-campus speech when coupled with regulations on-campus speech includes all the speech a student utters in a full 24-hour day. And so they cannot. Now, there's a further provision that suggests, yes, if it happens off school properties, but it's a serious credible threat, then yes, you can do something about it. But in this instance, none of those things happened. And there was actually another case which ruled, I think this is that primary one though, there were cases that effectively ruled that you cannot take this action against students outside of school. Now, the school is arguing that since he's typing this up on a school computer that is owned by the school, that no matter what he does on that computer is on-campus activity. Effectively, why? Because the Chromebook is on a VPN perpetually pushing everything through. Now, should he have typed that thing on the keyboard? Probably not. But does he have the free right to do that as a joke, a private joke between him and his mother at a kitchen table before school? Absolutely. This school district needs to lose this case. This is an absolutely horrendous case and a violation of rights. But I want to highlight a couple things. Number one, take every effort to not have your kids an account with these companies. What happens if you go to school and say, I'm sorry, my child cannot have a Google account. I do not agree to the terms of service of Google. Are they going to force you to agree to the terms of service? Because every Google account, you have to agree to the terms of service. What if you don't agree to the terms of service? It seems to me like maybe the school district should have to have a means around it. Secondly, you make sure that your kids are not using any school-issued devices outside of school. And as one of our supporters does, what he does, one of our supporters, his kids have these devices issued by the school. The first thing they have to do coming in is put them in a Faraday box. They don't enter the house. Boom. Done. Excellent advice. But I also want to give you one more warning because it happened to a kid I was mentoring. Because he had a school district that used these Google accounts and he had his own private computer. I know, I took him to the store to buy it, so he got a good one. It was his own computer, bought with his own money. And so one day he calls me up, it was a Saturday, and he's like, hey, I can't do anything on my computer, like something's wrong. I said, well, I'll come over and have a look at it. Well, I looked at it, and by simple nature of him going to the school, and I think maybe he gave it to an IT person at school or something, they actually embedded the school DNS and VPN connections perpetually on his own personal computer. So his own personal computer at his own house was constantly being monitored by the school district. And that is an absolute violation of privacy. If that were my kid, I'd be filing a lawsuit against the school for illegally wiretapping his laptop because he didn't know they did that. That is wiretapping. He didn't know they did that. And the only reason we caught it is because that happened to be a week that Google's education system was having problems. And so Google's school network was down, but their regular networks were still up, which was interesting. And that's the only reason we knew about it. So I took his laptop and I undid whatever nonsense they did, and he was able to use his computer again. So even if you are supplying your own computers, if those things have been to school, they might still have that spyware installed, and you need to make sure that you are doing the right thing here. And so this is a fascinating, fascinating case. I have no idea why I didn't see it earlier, but I didn't see it earlier. And that's just one of those reminders that we have to be diligent. I'm not saying don't use Google services. I'm saying Google is a for-profit company that seeks to make as much money with their resources, and their resources are your personal private data. And that is what they do to make money. So understand what they're doing, use the services consciously, and have separation so that you're not perpetually connected to Google in places you do not need their services. That is what you need to consider doing. So let me know your thoughts about all of that. I have the entire stream linked down below. Also, the articles here are linked down below as well. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. All right, don't go anywhere. We got another segment. We are going to do our comment sections first, and then we will get on back to our QuickLines and SillyVille. Jump in. I actually have Matrix pulled up today. I don't see much going on over at Matrix, which is good, or the thing's just not updating itself. I only see a few messages. Ivan's over there, XGUI's over there, and I think he, though, is on the YouTube channel, so I think that's where we'll see his comments. Here we go. Oh, are there tech difficulties somewhere? I don't know if there's tech difficulties or not. All right, we got 15 watching on Rumble. You can catch us over there on Rumble at Switch to Linux. And if you hit that join button there, that will take you right on over to our locals page if you want to help support on locals. That's a good way to do it. And Rumble does take super chats. I think they are not taking any of the cut. I don't know for sure. All right, Dan Kelly's on new laptop was canceled. It's no longer available. Nice they'll tell me this after a week. Ooh. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, it's like they looked down and said, we're going to lose money on the RAM on this one. All right. Buy it, and then they come back and be like, oh, sorry, no soup for you. I know, right? Special place in hell for Dell. How's that? Right? That was a Dell computer he was trying to order. Of course, they turn around and give you a more expensive option. Yeah. Wathead Rex. Greetings. Your identity is your property, and when you're using it, should have to pay you every time it's used or copied. Yeah, you know. Maybe that might get me to be like, hey, maybe you can use my data, but I get a percentage of every single dollar you make. There you go. In fact, it's my data. So I get, let's say I get 70%. You can keep 30% of the data for setting up the infrastructure. Maybe we go 50-50 if it's a good infrastructure. I don't know. But if there's any breach, you have to pay me $5 million for any data breach that you find. There you go. All right. Offer me a 3% discount on another product. Ugh, yikes. Several banks and credit loans demand a fingerprint on checks without agreement prior to do so. Yeah, so usually that is if you're trying to cash a check at a bank you are not a customer at. That usually is where I've seen that before. Bait and switch. Yep, there you go. Can I say no Google and still have a functioning device? So far, barely. Hey, man, Graphene OS, man. There you go. In fact, even my tablet I'm using to check Matrix. My tablet and my phone are both running Graphene OS. That's why I bought a Google Pixel tablet. Easy install Graphene OS. In fact, I see Fresh Vintage is over there in my YouTube comments. We'll get to his comments there. I actually recorded my how to install Graphene OS on a Pixel tablet video. You can search it up on the channel. I recorded that at his house. He was my cameraman. Thank you, Fresh Vintage. All right. It was Escape from School. That's right. Be true to your school. All right. Over on Odyssey, I'm seeing 6 currently watching on Odyssey. And I don't have Super Chat set up on Odyssey anymore. They changed their system. I don't know how it's going over there. Anyway, Ela Squirrel 9, greetings. Not too bad. Let's see. Alphabet doesn't want to reveal its secrets. Polls, take the money and be quiet string. Yep. CashOS user updated. Today, still have X session mainly in the Cinnamon DE fallback container. Yeah, so I think if you install it with Plasma or with GNOME, you probably won't have it. Now, if you are upgrading to CashOS and you previously had X, it's not going to remove X for sure, unless you actually do that. So there's an X11 Plasma session you can install. Okay, so that's what I didn't have a chance to research it for that video I did on CashOS. But I think that came out today, didn't it? I forget. I think I recorded that video of that was supposed to be a video that went out Tuesday, and I kept on having problems, and I just couldn't get it edited, so I released it today. But yeah, so it does not come the way I installed it. Fresh install did not come with X11, but there's a separate package you can do. We got 33 currently watching on the Tubies. Tubies, oh, not Tubies. Let's see. We got No One You Know. We got Deborah McKinney's over there. Of course, we got Banhammer Ivan over there. Commodore fan, greetings on the new Lenovo Android tablet tonight. Very nice, very nice. I had a really good Lenovo Android tablet, and one day it just stopped working. Or was that a Dell tablet? It was either a Lenovo or it was a Dell. One of those two, it just, one day just didn't turn on. Could never get it resolved. So I've had for the last almost decade now, I replaced it with a Samsung tablet years ago, which is not on the internet. And I mostly just use it to look at my Final Fantasy maps. That's pretty much what I do. I don't have a lot of need for the tablets other than the graphene tablet I got to do some channel stuff behind the scenes. So left the message there, answer machine after work. Hopefully they call back in the morning. Yeah, oh yeah, out of heat down there. All right. Currently have 2 radiant baseboard heaters, main part of the house that's keeping it warm enough for a small ceramic blower heater in the man cave. The man cave. You got a Pixel tablet, installed graphene on it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah. Nutalight, greetings to you. Made it on time. Yep. Things aren't cheap, even used. Plus, you need Pixel dock speakers, which then become useless if the tablet's not on it. No, I mean, I got mine. Well, I guess it depends what cheap is for you. I forget what we paid for mine, because they had one in the open box, and I talked them 10% down from what was in the open box, and we went back to the store the next day to do something else. I think that's when I had to replace my NAS hard drive, and the Pixel tablets were on sale, and I actually had my receipt, and the sale price for the new ones were cheaper than the used one I had, so I had Best Buy match the price, so we got it at some ridiculously cheap price when it was said and done. I forget what it was. Best Buy's really good at that, by the way. If you go to Best Buy a lot, carry your Best Buy receipts, because if you go in and see a product that you bought within 30 days that is now on sale, they will price match your last sale of it. I did that when I got the JLab, or is it JBud, whoever it was, keyboard and mouse combo. I went in, got them all, and had to take back the mouse because it wasn't compatible, and got the other mouse, which was compatible, but then that mouse was now on sale cheaper than the other mouse, so that caused the first discount, and then the keyboard was on sale from when I bought it the week before, and so I got a price match on that, so that went down. I ended up paying a grand total like $30 for the keyboard and the mouse. It was a nice deal. So Best Buy is really good at that type of stuff. No, I don't have any weird janky stuff with my tablet. Not at all. Yep. And what was the other thing you were saying? Need Pixel dock speaker? No, the speaker's actually really good. We tested the speakers. They're actually really good. Speakers are good. I should see if I can watch a movie through my NAS on the graphene tablet. See how it works. Let's see. Gratson was not wanted. Can you unlock the bootloader on what, a Pixel tablet? Yes. You can unlock it. You can install graphene, and then you can relock it. If you're talking about like the tablets he has, probably not. There's a couple Samsung tablets that you can unlock and install Lineage on, but they're kind of hard to find, and they're usually old spec ones. Got some technical. Is Tom in spin mode just for me? Was there weird stuff going on? Did we have I saw a buffer line on YouTube's intake feed, but it wasn't OBS. I actually think if there was a buffer on YouTube, I think it was actually YouTube. I actually think it was, because I did not have any. I got a buffer notice on YouTube stream. I did not get any frame drops or any decrease in bandwidth on OBS. So if there happened to be a weird buffer, it was actually this time legitimately Google's fault. Okay. But I don't have a car. What is the alternative to Google Map? Well, I mean, if you don't have Google Maps and you're using a phone, OSM and is what I use. But, like we're talking about, if you need a GPS for your car, the last thing you should be using is your phone. Let's see. As far as Google Maps always updating, gives notice of accidents and road closures, the modern Garmin's can do that too. Yeah, the modern Garmin's. I think it only ties in with, they have a special adapter, which is probably pulling in some form of data signal of some form. That's my guess, my random guess, without digging deeper into it. But if you use the adapter they give you with many of the new Garmin ones, they also stay just as up to date as Google does. They have the same road closures and accident stuff. Yep. I didn't catch the name of that channel. I missed it. The one. No, I posted it in both the general chat and in the in our private chat yesterday. Can I plug my Pixel into the Highliner? Pops up on a giant screen with voice nav. Probably not. The Pixel tablet does not have the drivers in it to export the tablet screen to a monitor, unfortunately. I do not trust the EFF or the WEF. I don't know. I trust the EFF. I don't trust the WEF. We can meet there. I do trust the EFF. I think they are a little left-leaning for me, but they do good, legitimate, and objective work as well. So I don't have a problem with EFF. The Crown 7 set a laptop. It's my own laptop, so I'm good on that one. Yeah, just don't let... yeah, do not click or allow your org to access your computer. Yeah. Yep. No, it is not cat feeding time yet. We do the cat feeding time after the SillyVille. Make way more off the tablet than they would in the ad. Just got raw arch. There you go. Raw arch. Do a deep dive review of Omarchy. If I remember that when I am looking into videos, we will look into that. No Best Buy in my country. That's sad. Remember the last time I was in a Best Buy? Basically the same thing as Target, isn't it? Well, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I was in a Target. They're all over the place. I just found their prices are always a lot higher, and I just generally don't go into the Targets much. Outside of the Google devices, would you recommend for installing Graphene OS onto? So Graphene OS only works on Google devices right now, but they are in talks with another hardware company to have their own Graphene OS hardware phone in the future. So as of right now, Graphene only works on Google devices because it's the only hardware platform that they could do a genuine unlock the bootloader and then install and then relock and verify the bootloader. So right now, Graphene OS only works on Google devices. That is set to change soon. I have not seen an update on when. But outside of Graphene OS, you can install Lineage on several devices. Check out the Lineage OS website for a comprehensive list of devices. Can you buy a docking speaker with a Pixel tablet? Yeah, I have no idea. I think I might have seen one, but, you know, if I really needed a speaker, I have a Bluetooth speaker. I can just hook a Bluetooth speaker up to it. Let's see. I didn't know that. I thought they were crazy people. I don't know. Who's crazy people? $5 from Bandit Taze. Thank you for your super chat. Does Garmin Maps have Bluetooth audio real-time directions? Because I love that. I have no idea about Bluetooth audio, but real-time direction. Oh, Bluetooth audio real-time direction. So passing that, you know, honestly, I don't know. There are smart versions. There are dumb versions. I intentionally do not connect Bluetooth to anything in my car, so I don't know. That's not a feature I would have looked for. I honestly don't know. But it does have a speaker that is loud enough that you can generally hear it. Even the little, I've turned off everything. The last thing I want is for my GPS to be the backseat driver and telling me when to turn. No. Show me on the screen. I'm like Tony Stark, right? Going up there, Tony Stark flying up there. Stop telling me. Just leave it on the screen, okay? I don't want to hear it. Just leave it on the screen. I'm competent at doing that. But I do have the notification sound for when the speed limit is going to change on the Garmin's, which is remarkably up to date. So you're driving down the road. If you're going to get a speed limit, it doesn't do it if the speed limit's going to increase, but it does if the speed limit's decreasing. So you're driving down at 55 or no. Let's say you're driving through North Dakota, and I have no earthly idea why they do this, but you're driving through North Dakota and it's like 65 on the road. And then all of a sudden you hit Dodge, the little city on that little road. And then all of a sudden you're going 65 and then the speed limit instantly becomes 25. 40-mile-an-hour drop. And that's why they got the expression of get out of Dodge. Okay. So my GPS will beep about half a mile before, or no, not a half, maybe a quarter mile before a speed limit change goes down. So it's really nice though. Yes, not me. Forgot. I mean, I thought the EFF were crazy people. No, I think EFS is pretty good. So Lineage on Android Fire once. It worked great. That's fun. Google shut down the Play Store and use F-Droid for better. Yeah, use F-Droid for better security. Yeah, but they just wouldn't have as much. Jarvis, please open the door. There you go. My kid's school watches him 24/7, 365. He was homeschooled. Yeah, well, you know, if your kid is homeschooled, you have the right to watch him 24/7, 365. Because, you know, you are the parent. But the communist dystopia that would like to brainwash your child does not get to watch your child 24/7, 365. All right. Last Garmin had a few years ago. Backup, you needed to buy a lifetime map updates, and the updates only worked on Windows. Map updates still only work on Windows, but it is something you can install with Wine. Generally, every GPS, you do not have to buy maps. I've not had a Garmin in 15 years that you had to buy updated maps. Every one of them now comes with free maps. You just have to plug it into a devil machine every once in a while doing that. So, all right, let's go ahead and get on back to our main content. Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup, and today we're jumping into the QuickLines, and I even forget what our main topic is for the night. I don't know. You clicked on the video. You tell me what the main topic is. I'll probably remember it as we hit the article. But anyway, let's jump on into QuickLines and SillyVille. So first up, a little bit of a Linuxy-based news. Not an April Fool's joke. You can run Linux and, for some reason, Windows on this Android smartphone. So this is what is it called? The Next computer, the Next stock product of phones. So this is the Next phone. So I guess a concept from 2012 that refused to die. Hey, they're finally coming out with it. They are taking $200 for a pre-order, hold the date, and they said they are shipping Q3 2026. I myself, hey, we've seen too many of these devices. They're like, hey, put your pre-order money here, and that turned out not being a good option, and so I would highly advise probably not putting the $200 down, but I will probably keep an eye out to see if I can find one of these guys shortly after it comes out. It's not the best specs, but it is a phone running Android 16 that has Debian Linux as an app, and it can dual boot into Windows 11. Now, if it can dual boot into Windows 11, I have a sneaky suspicion you can dual boot it into an official Linux, not just running Linux on an app. That's my thought, but I don't know, haven't seen the thing. So this particular computer, you can plug it right on into the screen, and it will basically turn into a full desktop computer as well. Not too unlike the PinePhone, had a very similar option to it as well. The problem is the PinePhone, very, very dated hardware. Even when it came out, it wasn't the best of all experiences. But they do expect this to be a secondary or backup phone. It would be neat to see how it works. Is Adreno 643, I'm dyslexic today, 643 GPU, 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of internal storage. It could be expanded via SD card. So not horrible, particularly compared to other things, but certainly not your flagship phone these days. So it boots in the Next OS, bloatware-free, minimal Android 16 system with Debian running as an app with GPU acceleration, and Windows 11 being a dual boot option that requires a restart to access. That's kind of neat. I don't know. I liked the Windows phone when it came out. I mean, if it wasn't Windows 11, I mean, look at all this nonsense. Copilot and Edge. Excuse me. Excuse me. Had all this micro slop. I had to just, you know, vomit out the micro slop. But I gotta say, I would be tempted to see how the Windows is in this iteration, although I am definitely more attracted to the Next OS or the Debian version, and it'd be really, really neat if we could figure out how to get something else installed on it as well. So there is something that you can do. So we'll have fingerprint scanner, accelerometer, magnetometer, gyroscope, ambient light sensor, and proximity sensor. So that's all pretty good. $200 to reserve it, $549 total, and they say the $199 is a refundable deposit, and they say it's slated for a Q3 release sometime between July and September. So if I start seeing these actually shipping around that time, I might actually want to buy me one of those. I would love to get my hands on this bad boy, but we'll see. All right, Mozilla comes out with an official RPM package for RPM-based distros. So you're thinking your Fedoras, your OpenSUSEs, and things like that. and of course CentOS, Rocky Linux, things like that. So Red Hat based things, OpenSUSE based things. So if you happen to need a latest Firefox, this of course allows you to also get the nightly build if that's an interest to you, and it will probably mean that if you're using this, you will get the updates to your Firefox faster than the repository for your distribution gets it. So this is, of course, something that Debian's had for a while now, and this is the first time they are releasing it onto this. Maybe it's a little too late. I think a lot of people are souring on Mozilla, which is kind of sad. I would like to see it live, but it just needs to stop being stupid. Okay, let's get into our non-Linuxy stuff. Data leak exposes 149 million logins, including Gmail and Facebook, and your OF accounts, guys. So, I mean, I know my audience. Not my OF account. I'm trying to see. Microscope not needed, you know. All right. Well, consumer accounts like Gmail and Facebook make up the largest chunk. Also contain sensitive logins for cryptocurrency exchanges and dating sites. So they have 48 million Gmails, 17 million Facebook, 6.5 million Instagram, down to 100,000 OF accounts, some Binance, some TickSlop, and iCloud. So they got some EDU accounts. That's exciting. Outlook. So you got a lot of stuff over there. Now, what was curious about this is when they found it, it was a giant database, and while they were watching this database, it kept growing. They couldn't find out who owned it to get it taken off. It took them about a month to get this database taken offline. Meanwhile, every day they're watching it, and info stealers, this is all being populated by info stealers installed around the world. Info stealers keep on adding to the database. They're watching it grow over a month. Finally, they got it taken down by reaching out and finally contacting the ultimate hosting company, because even the hosting of it was obfuscated through a different subsidiary accounts. They finally got the server taken down on the hosting account level. And now it's just like, there's a bunch of logins, all from info stealers. So this is just people that have had phishing. They've fallen for phishing scams. They have info stealers installed, and now they're getting all these things. So you can probably expect that those users are going to be targeted in more specific phishing campaigns, phishing for 2FA codes. So be aware of that. Those are some things that you might see. Well, an ad showed up to get paid to scroll TikTok. And there's a data trade behind the free cache ads. Now, this is tied to the company called Free Cache. And in Free Cache, basically, this was an ad that jumped up, and TikTok, even the Chinese people over there are like, no, this is no good. And so they end up banning the ad here. Effectively, this is just a company that their entire job is to get you to use apps, whether free or paid, that do nothing but harvest a ton of data. This was too extreme for TikTok. TikTok's like, we don't want that type of data collection, you know? And so that's kind of what goes on here. So the ads promise $35 an hour to watch your For You page, according to the reported ads. Didn't promote Free Cache by name. Instead, it showed young women expressing excitement about seemingly being hired by TikTok to watch videos for money. So the landing pages featured TikTok and Free Cache logos and invited users to get paid to scroll and cash out instantly, implying a simple exchange of time for money. Unfortunately, Free Cache routes you to a rotating roster of mobile games, titles like Monopoly Go and Disney Solitaire. Both sound super legitimate. They offer Free Cache rewards for completing time-limited in-game challenges. Payout ranges from a single cent for a few minutes of daily play up to triple-digit amounts if you reach high levels within a fixed period. So Free Cache's parent-based company Almeda openly describes the platform ways to match mobile game developers with users who are likely to install it. And the company CEO has spoken publicly about using past spending data to steer users towards genres where they're most valuable to the advertisers. So that's it. This is just a psychological psyop to get you to, did I say psychological op? Yeah, okay, I did. Come on, man. Let's all use our ATM machines, right? All right. Anyway, effectively, it's a psyop to get you to use the apps that collect tremendous amount of data. The privacy policy allows them the automatic collection of highly sensitive data, including data about race, religion, OnlyFans content apparently, health, and biometrics. Each additional mobile game you install to chase rewards adds to its own privacy policy, tracking, and telemetry. So basically, they're just steering you towards things that they just want to collect a bunch of your data. And so when asked about the ads, Free Cash said the most misleading TikTok promotions were created by a third-party affiliate and not by the company itself. Very convenient. So, they also do not want to take any form of accountability. So if you're curious how intrusive scams like this can be, consider using a separate email address created specifically for testing and avoid sharing real personal details. And I might also add, don't test things unless you're like, this is your thing. Don't test things that have no real value, like earning a couple pennies by giving your data to weird, shady apps on the internet is probably not a wise use of your funds. Just a thought. And Gmail spam filters breakdown affecting 1.8 billion users. Basically, if you had Gmail last week, on I guess maybe earlier this week, January 24th. You probably experienced Gmail hell. Effectively, it took all of those spam and offers and newsletters and all that stuff and vomited that stuff all over your basic inbox, kind of like Microsoft slams Copilot everywhere. Meanwhile, all of the very important messages from friends you know and organizations you trust, those all get hit with warnings about potential phishing scams, causing mass confusions because, So, yeah, that happened. Gmail's sophisticated spam protection system experienced a complete breakdown over the week. I will note that this has all been handed over to AI. Go figure. AI fed itself on its own data and decided, whoa, we need to invert here. Filtering system has abandoned its duties, dumping promotional ads and social emails directly into primary inboxes and flagging trusted senders with suspicious warnings. Okay, messages that normally route a promotions or social tabs began appearing in primary inboxes, while the spam detection system became an overly paranoid about legitimate correspondence. Even emails from known trusted senders were being flagged with security warnings, creating confusion about which messages were actually safe to open. Wonderful. All right, so apparently they did get this fixed, but I will note this is an AI-powered filtering system, so I wonder what went wrong. Wouldn't you know it? You hand stuff over to AI and all hell breaks loose. How wonderful. Well, Android phones are now getting AI-powered anti-theft features. Oh, Lord help us. What happens one day when you pick up your phone and your phone thinks you're trying to steal it? Yeah, it turns out that's kind of happening in some ways. Like, not that particular scenario, but most impressive upgrade targets the moment of theft itself. So Google's trying to figure out how can we detect if your phone is being actively stolen right now? And so expansion of identity checks now cover every app from fingerprint and facial recognition. So this is how they're, safeguarding some of the applications. To use some apps, you might need to verify yourself a little bit more, maybe enter your PIN again, or engage in the foolish act of using biometrics on your phone, which you shouldn't be doing. And then, of course, the AI model has been continuously learning new theft scenarios, making it increasingly difficult for criminals to outsmart the detection system. So one of the problems we saw is not too long ago. In fact, it was kind of right at the beginning of the Koofy Koofs. New York basically decriminalized crime. And, unless you were actually caught standing over a bloody body with a knife dripping blood onto the ground there next to it, they weren't locking you in jail. You'd get a ticket, you'd have to appear in court, and that's it. Have fun. Don't strangle anybody else today. Have fun storming the castle. That's kind of what they did. Well, in response to that, one of the types of crimes that started ramping up was these criminals just running around on mopeds, just robbing people, and their favorite thing to do was to snap phones out of people's hands while they were actively using them. So, some zombies meandering on down, like out of the Shaun of the Dead. And so the scammer comes in with their e-bike or whatever else, snatches the phone out of their hand, and while the phone is still unlocked, they're able to access a lot of things on the device, maybe install some malware, maybe do other shenanigan-y things, whatever else it takes, they're going to do this. So apparently that was a problem that happened for a period of time in New York, and I'm not sure if that's happening now, but where that's happening a ton is down in Brazil. So in Brazil was a test where Android phones by default had these snatch and run motions turned on. And so the theft detection lock uses AI to sense snatch and run motions, now activates automatically for Brazilian users along with remote lock accessibility through the android.com/lock. So that's all you need. Your phone is over there sitting on the table and there's a medical emergency. So you run really fast, grab your phone, do a loop around the table, turn it on to call 911, and your phone locks because it thinks it just got stolen. What a world, what a world, what a world. So I have no idea if that's how that's going to work, but that's what a snatch and run sounds like to me in a plausible scenario. So how do you unlock your phone? Excuse me, I can't call 911 right now. I got to find the nearest computer and go to android.com/lock, log into myself, which of course wants me to access my phone to verify my identity. Oh, God. And then it's going to send the verification to the guy holding your phone. Jesus. Oh, this is like Microsoft, right? Use a Microsoft account, completely flawless. All your keys are here. What happens if I lose my TPM chip? I don't know. You have to log into your Microsoft account. How do I do that? I don't have a TPM chip. I don't know. You just won't get it again. Just create a new Microsoft account. What about my data? Don't worry. The FBI will have it. We'll give them the decryption keys. Okay. You might have to hire a lawyer to investigate and send a subpoena to Microsoft to get your decryption keys if you get locked out. I wonder if that would work. Like, I'm locked out. Hey, lawyer, petition Microsoft on my behalf to get my decryption keys. I don't know. How's Google going to handle this snatch and run feature? I don't know. We're not even to SillyVille yet, folks. Oh, this one's our main topic. How bad are AI delusions? Well, we asked the people treating them. So it turns out that AI tends to greatly increase psychosis. Now, there's a few cases where it helped, but like most things, for every one person it helped, there were like 20 to 30 people that became those crazy psychos. I watched, 7 the other day, right? Like, do you know you're crazy? Like, I can't remember the scenario he said, or do you not know you're crazy? Remember that phone call when they're driving John Doe out, right, to the crime scene, So this person here, Julia Sheffield, a psychologist specialized in treating people with delusions. She was unnerved last summer when patients began telling her about their conversations with AI chatbots. After days of the bot validating her worries, she became convinced that the businesses were colluding to having her investigated by the government. Now, this is interesting because psychosis is already a bad thing, and some circumstances can make it worse. And I have met a number of people that they are already deeply paranoid in some ways. In fact, I have a funny story, and this will actually appear in a book at some point in time when I am ready to announce that fun book. But one year, this last year, I think it was last summer, I roll into this park in State College. It was in the summer, so I'm down in State College usually for a few months. And I roll into one of the city parks. There's a lot of big city parks, and there's one that has really nice paved trails. It goes out to, if you're familiar with the State College area, it goes out to Millbrook Marsh. So like Spring Creek Park. You park there at Spring Creek Park. Nice, safe place. Leave your car, and then you can walk all the way out to the marsh. And if you got enough time, you can go all the way down the Slab Cabin Run. All paved stuff. Really beautiful trails. Really nice. So I pull in there, and I just go and take my walk, right? I'm just go out, take my walk. I come back in probably about an hour, take an hour walk or so. Come back, and the lady that I parked next to when I got there, she's still in there. She big hat, really easy to see, silver SUV. And she's like, "Do you work with the FBI?" I was like, "No." Now, it occurred to me at that point in time, I always used to have my Wi-Fi SSID hidden because, it's just a smaller attack vector for someone trying to get into you, right? But when I moved into the van, I decided I would make it not hidden, and I would change my Wi-Fi ID to FBI surveillance van, because that's just kind of the person I am, right? Like, you get a glimpse of the van and the doors open. There's all these computers in here, and it says FBI surveillance van. I mean, the only way I can make it more suspicious is if I just wrote plumber with black letters on the side of the van, you know? I mean, so I'm sitting there with that ID, and this woman actually thinks I'm with the FBI and I'm stalking her, because she believes that she works with the FBI and she used to work with the CIA and they're tracking her. And she even said, they broke into my car and hid trackers in here. Would you like to see one? And I'm like, of course. I definitely want to see one of these trackers that the CIA busted into your car and planted. That sounds awesome, right? So she gets a DVD. There's a Blu-ray, I think. She opens up. She takes the disc out. She said, look at this black tag. She points to the anti-theft tag that is on nearly every DVD printed since like 2012 or something. And I said to her, no, that's always been there. Those are on all those. And that just completely made her convinced I was at the FBI and I was trying to gaslight her. Okay. So I end up having this 45-minute conversation with a woman that thinks I'm actually with the FBI stalking her, because she worked with the CIA. And she worked with the CIA through Facebook, because I think she probably fell for one of those Facebook scams, work for Facebook and you're actually working for the CIA type stuff. And she went down to these weird rabbit holes. And I have met a number of people that go down these rabbit holes in a paranoid way that's not healthy. And I've encountered a lot of them, especially as I talk to a lot of people on the road. A lot of people. Like, I know, as the earlier videos address, Google does a lot of weird things on your devices. Do I sit there and be like, Google's always watching? Okay, Google doesn't have a conspiracy against Switch to Linux, okay? They just collect my data along with everybody else's and put it into these algorithms coordinated by these cohorts, and then use it to sell ads, okay? Not for me, because I don't give them enough data to do that with. But there are people out there that think that not only is there all this data surveillance, which there is, but they think the data surveillance specifically targets them. And at that point in time, somebody is crossing over into psychosis and they need some mental help. And so that was a long and funny story. Hopefully that was an enjoyable story. Hopefully that was one. And by the way, I drove down into, I forget exactly what city, just into Georgia from, I think just into Georgia from like Tennessee. There was a Walmart. I pulled into that Walmart and I'm the FBI surveillance van. And there was actually a CIA van next to me. I'm like, I got to beat this guy. I'm looking around the parking lot. Which one is it? You know, is it that van over there? Maybe it's that van, you know, all sorts of fun stuff. But anyway, why I say this is because we already have a world that people are becoming more paranoid. And now we have AI, which starts validating all of our worries, because it's very sycophantic. And it really, really, really wants to validate things so you keep talking to it. It wants to intensify the things you already believe. AI barely teaches you new things. It's more has a purpose to convince you of what you already believe. And that is a scary thing, because that is exactly the type of stuff that increases psychosis. That's what narcissists do to convince you that they're the best person for you. It is very, very dangerous. And so this whole article looks at all of these cases. I think they interviewed 30 or so, no, 100 different therapists who all told them about very similar experiences exasperated by AI chatbots. So she has seen 7 such patients at Vanderbilt University Medical School in Nashville. She is accustomed to treating people with mental instability, but she was disturbed that this new technology seemed to tip people from having eccentric thoughts into full-on delusions. And as we look at a channel like mine, where we are always talking about these types of privacy impacts, you know, you look at these types of things and go, yes, I am aware enough of what Google is doing that I don't want to be part of it, which is why I have a graphene phone. But I don't sit here spending time, what are they doing? Well, the first thing is I just don't do a lot on my phone anyway. But I've also taken active steps. I'm not sitting here tipping myself into the constant, who's spying on me now? I just assume, and it's not like they're not spying on you for some nefarious things. They're just spying on you to collect as much data to market crap to you. It's more about consumer slop more than it is about anything bad or nefarious. But that's the problem, is that to Dr. Sheffield here, she says the AI is tipping people into psychosis who are kind of just on the edge, and that's a problem. It's like it was like AI was partnering with them in expanding or reinforcing their unusual beliefs. In fact, there was one on Tyler Zed's Education Today, I think it was, and it was like that whole, in fact, it was at 10 minutes and 30 seconds because I commented at that time slot, and he's talking about the robotic pigeons and stuff, and I told him, yeah, no, it's not a conspiracy because we just did the article a couple months ago, back in November, when Russians are actually making robotic pigeons that spies on people. Yes. Validating all of us. Okay. Now, do I think that every pigeon is a robot from Russia? No, because I don't have psychosis. But if I were close to the edge and AI picks up on that article, it might tip me into psychosis. So I'd be wary of that. And then, by the way, it goes back that it wasn't just in November. I actually found an article from somewhere else, a bigger journal from back like 5 years ago, with our government talking about robotic pigeons. Okay, now we're getting too deep for me. Okay, we're out. Not to mention, about 4 years ago, by the way, I did film that bird on that beach in Texas that sounded a whole lot like a robot. I filmed that on one of my Tux Traveler videos. I highlighted that. Find my Brian Beach video. I think I mistakenly called it Bryant Beach. But yeah, kind of fun. So they said there's exasperated. So the conversations deepen the patient's feelings of isolation or anxiety and leads to 30 described cases resulting in psychosis or self-deletory thoughts. Of course, there's the ringleader of it all himself, Mr. Padded Cell himself. For the very small percentage of users in mentally fragile states, this can be serious, Sam Altman said. But the company has estimated 0.15% of ChatGPT users discussed self-deletory intentions over the course of a month, and 0.07% showed signs of psychosis or mania. And they point out here that for a product with 800 million users, that translates to 1.2 million people with possible intents and 560 people with potential psychosis or mania. And remember that this can move the needle and cause them to get worse. And that really is the fundamental problem we're talking about. They said the experts said the number of people susceptible to psychological harm, even psychosis, is far higher than the general public understands. The bots, they say, frequently pull people away from human relationships, condition them to expect agreeable responses, and then reinforce harmful impulses. And that is how AI is designed, because it keeps you coming back to the system. Same way that Facebook has created an addictive algorithm. So ultimately, the problem is that tips you into psychosis. So psychosis, which causes a break from reality, is most associated with schizophrenia. As many as 3% of people will develop a diagnosis of a psychotic order in their lifetime and are more prone to delusional thinking. In this case here, he wrote in a scientific journal about a medical professional who began conversing with ChatGPT during a sleepless night. She took medications for ADHD and had a history of depression. After 2 nights of asking a chatbot questions about her dead brother, she became convinced that he had been communicating with her through the trail of digital footprints. Hansel and Gretel, he's back. And so there's a lot of these 30 people that Jessica Ferrenti assessed last year in violent felony cases had delusional thoughts that were intensified by AI before the crimes occurred. And over here, they address that AI gives us unhealthy validation. Several mental health workers who treat anxiety, depression, or obsessive compulsive disorder described AI as either validating their clients' worries or providing so much reassurance that patients felt reliance on chatbots to calm down. Safety guardrails that stop chatbots from encouraging self-deletion can break down when people engage the bots in extended conversations over days or weeks. And so this just kind of goes on and on. There are some positives. Some people said that people that are on a more healthy path can use AI to encourage healthier habits, but they found that the the number of people that AI tips into psychosis far outweighs the number of people that come back to that are using it to get back to a healthy reality. And so the point here isn't to completely ban it all, but just like your smartphones and just like about every other technology out there, the fact of the matter is AI can be used for good, but AI, more often than not, to Thoreau's point, allows us to intensify our already evil desires. That's what Thoreau said in Walden. Our improved technology gives us an improved means to reach our own deteriorating ends. And that really is the principle that we need to look at. AI should be used with caution. And I will also caution anybody with any potential mental issues, mental states, should probably stay away from AI entirely. Should probably stay away from it entirely. Yes, Kitty, do you want to say hi? You stay up there and I'll give you kitty treats in a minute. Okay. All right. Kitty's over here wanting to say hi. All right. From the technology review, how many? Okay, dude, how many crappy boxes? This site is stupid. These people are morons, by the way. For supposedly a prestigious university, these people are idiots, by the way, at MIT. Never been at a bigger collection of retards. Right. What AI remembers about you is privacy's next frontier. All right. The article here was good in that really it addresses that AI, especially as they're trying to jump in and using AI agentically. They're wanting it to access all your data. They're wanting to remember everything about you. You know, kind of like with social media wants to remember all of the things and everything wants to remember all of the things. Well, they want to remember everything about you so that it can more better serve you, I guess, or maybe more better lend you into psychosis, I guess. But what we're seeing here is that the next source of digital oil, maybe you can call it the oil shale or the fracking implement. The next one here is that all of these AI collecting all of our data, and it's going to become impossible to keep it under reins. And so to their point, they say what AI remembers about you is privacy's next frontier. How now can companies tap into this? And all of the early indicators suggest that companies will be able to tap into this and collect a lot more information about you earlier. They will be able to do this a lot better than they would the old ways of collecting data, because it's a lot harder to safeguard these agentic bots because they're too susceptible to prompts and reprompts and prompt injection scams. And so Google announced Personal Intelligence, a new way for people to interact with the company's Gemini chatbot that draws on their Gmail, photos, search, and YouTube histories to make Gemini more personal, proactive, and powerful. Yeah, wonderful. But personalized interactive AI systems are built to act on our behalf to maintain context across conversations and improve our ability to carry out all sorts of tasks, from booking travel to filing taxes. And so most AI agents collapse all the data about you, which may once have been separated by context, purpose, and permissions into a single unstructured repositories. When an AI agent links to external apps or other agents to execute a task, the data in the memory can seep into shared pools. And that is the problem, because a simple reprompt could do a whole data dump. It could dump everything about you into that one database for those individual people. And that really is the biggest concern. And so as we are using these, this is why, as I'm doing experimentations with AI myself, I'm doing it in offline systems that intentionally don't remember. Because even if it's offline, I don't want it remembering. I mean, there's some things I would like it to. I did some tests about what it can, but the fact of the matter is, man, AI is collecting way too much data. All right, Google begins rolling out Chrome's Auto Browse AI agent today. Speaking of all of this AI and data collection, Google Chrome is now probably prompting you, if you're still using it for some reason, to check out its new agentic AI, which is kind of frightening because everything's susceptible to this prompt injection. Now, they're like, we're going to stay on top of that. Good luck with that. So they add Google's autonomous browsing agent, which is dubbed Auto Browse. Now, what they did as far as the e-commerce concerns is that their agentic AI is not allowed to actually make purchases. But what it can do is it can go through, do the research, and then add the products to the carts, and then you have to manually review the carts and actually make the purchase. I think that's a really good compromise if you want to have the AI searching for stuff. But I don't know, like, I think it's a sad world when we just tell AI, hey, AI, find me the next line of consumer crap. Lulu dolls, is that what those things are called? I don't know. Go find me whatever. You know, isn't when you're going to buy something, isn't part of the fun for you to sit down there and research the product yourself? Isn't part of the fun just hunting around looking for deals? Isn't part of the fun is look what catches your eyes on the screen? I actually found that the movie recommendation Amazon makes is actually pretty good. And we're talking, by the way, I'm not being hypocritical here. We're not talking Amazon Prime. I don't have that. Never have it. Never paid for it. Never used it. We're talking about DVDs because oftentimes I'll need to buy something on Amazon. It's like, oh, you need to add like $5 more to get free shipping. Did you guys know that, by the way, almost everything on Amazon has free shipping, whether you have Prime or not? Did y'all know that? I know everyone I talk to is, I just pay for Prime so I can get free shipping. Dude, I haven't paid shipping on Amazon for like anything for a long time outside of weird specialty things that don't even have free shipping on Prime. Okay. I think I had to pay shipping for my solar panels because they're big and bulky and had to come in a special truck. Okay. Outside of that, I haven't paid shipping on Amazon for a long time. Okay. Because it's like you get in there. Oh, your order is $28, $35 for free shipping. All right. Hey, show me some movie recommendations. I forgot about that movie from my childhood. I will add that to my cart. Thank you. Okay. But part of the fun is to go on Amazon and look around the cart yourself, isn't it? That really is part of it. So agentic AI is one of the freedom to be lazy. You simply task a robot with a job and relax while it goes to work. No, I like doing this stuff. I don't know. But they are coming out with their agentic things. So this one, if we ask Google, have used page context process bio browsers to further train AI speakers, AI training models, but the spokesman declined to provide specifics. That is Google's way of saying, well, yes, everything you do on the agentic browser is going to be used to train it. Otherwise, they'd say, oh, no, we don't do that. But they don't want to come out and say, oh, yes, we do that, because that sounds crazy dystopian. But the fact that they answered and said, yeah, we're not going to go into those specifics, kind of tells me, yes, they are training their AI off of this. They're just not telling you that. That's my opinion what this means. That's what I am reading behind those last signs. So let me know. And our last story here in QuickLines, we have Apple tells Patreon to move creators to in-app purchases for subscriptions by November. You're like, well, what happens if I don't use Apple? It doesn't matter. Here is Apple now telling Patreon, which we use on this channel, patreon.com/TOMM. If you want to sign into our Patreon, support us over there. Apple tells Patreon to move creators to in-app purchase for subscriptions by November. And this is everybody. So Apple's going to dictate what Patreon does for a channel that does not recommend you use Apple products. Oh, have I got that? I did get that right. That's right. How insane. Now, what this deals with is long time ago, if you've been using Patreon for years, you know that Patreon you'd go in, you'd sign up for it, and on the first of the month, you would get charged. Now, one of the things is that some people might sign in, take advantage of some perks, and then get out of there before they would ever get charged. I can't remember if they ever put something in where you charge somebody and then you would charge everybody again on the first. But then what happened is they rolled out this subscription type model, which basically when you go over and sign on to a Patreon account, you create the account and then it will bill you on that same day every month. And so when you go in and you look at your Patreon income, what I can do is I can go in there and it will basically give me a listing of everybody, but it used to be everybody gets billed on the first and then no payments throughout the month. Now on the subscription model, basically everybody pays for their month at the time they sign up. Now, Apple is forcing Patreon by November 1st, 2026 to have everybody using that new subscription model. Now, I did not jump onto that right away, but I did ultimately move to that because I looked at it and said it does actually make more sense in the light of how everything else is running, and was better for business as well, because I basically go into Patreon and I do a payout on the first, like the first Wednesday of the month is usually what I do. And so by that time, you know, there's more or less in there each month, depending. And so it's fine. This is not a horribly bad thing from the creator standpoint, because what they're doing does make sense. And once it's moving along, it just kind of makes sense to run it in that type of model. What's bothersome here is that Apple can come in and tell a huge independent company that has no association with them how everybody must use their system because of how Apple is enforcing these. And by the way, wasn't there a court case that said Apple couldn't do this? Way to go, United States government. I see Apple is running scared. Yeah. So Apple can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. This isn't a huge deal from the perspective of what it means when things are done. I just do not like the fact that Apple is telling an independent company that has nothing specifically to do with them that they have to move their payment methods to meet Apple's demands. That to me is insane. Let me know if you would agree. And we only have 2 articles from SillyVille. So the first is, for some reason, Microsoft started routing example.com traffic to some random company in Japan because Microsoft is bad at everything, apparently. So example.com is a website that you can't buy, a domain that is used, obviously, in every form of coding example there is. It's used in API testing. It's used in everything under the sun. Okay. So Microsoft has control of this so it can make sure that nobody does anything nefarious with it, and they failed miserably. Maybe we should petition to give example.com to somebody less nefarious like Anonymous. Okay, I mean, really. So, by some weird DNS fluke, whenever you did your testing with your Outlook servers, it would send all of your requests, including your usernames and passwords, to some random company in Japan. Well, I guess our CEOs will not be getting their bonus this year for the security faux pas. But, oh well. They have recently said it has been fixed, but this had to do with the auto discover service set up inside of Outlook routing. But anytime you would try and run example.com, it would send the email traffic to imapgms.jnet.sei.co.jp, which is some random company in Japan. Probably feeding that database we talked about earlier, you know. Nobody knows who it's connected to. Results, anyone who tries to set up an Outlook account on an example.com domain might accidentally send test credentials to those at this company's subdomains. And representative confirmed that Microsoft has updated the service to no longer provide suggested server information for example.com. Okay, then. That's wonderful. All right. So that's good. And then, of course, RoboZuck himself says that it is hard to imagine a future where everyone is not wearing smart glasses. Really? I don't know. It's hard for me to want to live in a future where everyone is. Okay? It's all we need. Because, you know, the AI revolution isn't collecting enough data. So now we need all sorts of NPCs running around with constantly recording AI facial recognition, data hogging glasses, constantly clogging up all cell networks, constantly transmitting 4K data up and down, being processed by AI servers so you can have a viewfind that looks like the Terminator that goes, dee, 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 dee. We've detected this person. His name is John. He likes computers and, you know, whatever else. Da, da, da. Would you like a body scan of him? Would you like me to use that new app you installed to take off his clothes or you're standing in front of him? Ah, cheek. So they said billions of people wear glasses or contacts for vision correction. I think that we're at a moment similar to when smartphones arrived. It was clearly only a matter of time until all those flip phones became smartphones. It's hard to imagine a world in several years where most glasses that people wear aren't AI glasses. Yeah, right. I just don't think that they're as useful as many people think, especially since they're probably going to be overly expensive and having too high of a subscription service for the average person that clearly already owns nothing and can't even afford basic things like, owning your car or owning your house anymore. But hey, your mortgage is on a 50-year mortgage, so there's always that, You can leave it into your will for your great-great-grandchildren, I guess, to make that final payment for you. All right. Google is expected to launch its smart glasses. With Warby Parker, Apple is reportedly planning to unveil smart glasses next year or two. Oh, God. Snap announced Tuesday it would spin AR glasses into a new subsidiary to allow for greater operational focus and alignment. And I think there was somewhere in here, even OpenAI was looking at doing some glasses. Lord help us all. We have glasses everywhere. Ugh. Well, if you want to help support a channel, have a look over at shop.switchedtolinux.com. We have a number of different shirts and things available over there. We desperately need to refresh this line. I think I need to work on that coming up soon here. But anyway, there are some shirts and mouse pads and things like this cool coffee cup all available over there on shop.switchedtolinux.com. Thank you for watching, and we will see you all next time. All right, don't go anywhere. I'm going to find that beast, and we're going to feed le beastie. If I can find my way to get that off of there. All right. Let's go find a beast. Hey, beastie. Hey, beastie. Come here, beastie. Oh, come here, beastie. Yes, it's time to feed the beast. Yes, it is. It's time to feed the beast. It's time to feed the beast. Yes, it is. It's time to feed the beast. Yeah, it's time to feed the beast. It's time to feed the beast. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. You want into here, huh? You want into here, don't you? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You want into that, don't you? Yes, you do. All right. All right. Let's see. Wasn't there 2 beasts in the past? Yes, there were, and one of our poor beasts has passed away in November. So we are down to 1 beast now, unfortunately. Alrighty, let's see, is anything else going on over there on the Matrix server? Oh, lots of going on over on Matrix right now. All right. Let's see what we got. Schools are watching students. Oh, yes, yes. Birds aren't real. Of course birds aren't real. Who was thinking birds are real? All right, we got 14 watching over there on the Rumble. All right, let's see. I didn't take note of where I was. I can say no Google and still have a functioning device so far, barely. Let's see, we did those. Okay, Lenovo IdeaPad, impossible to configure wireless card, had to use a USB. Yeah, you might have one of the old Broadcom modems in there. You might be able to, if it's a serviceable computer, might be able to pop it out. And those Wi-Fi cards are like $10 on Amazon, maybe 20 these days. I don't know, but you can buy a new one, and you get like an Intel one. You get oh, who are the other ones? You guys, hardware guys, let me know the other cards. But yeah, I actually pulled out, I had one of the wireless cards and one of my laptops went bad. I swapped out with the best possible card you could put in that computer, and it only cost me $15. Full AC wireless card. That thing caused internet to go so fast. It was insane. Of course, I can't use speeds like that because I'm using pfSense, and pfSense is not good at managing wireless networks. All right, let's see. Birds aren't real. Of course they're not. They are not indeed. We got 10 currently watching on Odyssey, wherever on Odyssey this. Let's see. Waiting for the channel name to look up. Yep. Schools are watching students at home. Yes. All right. Seems like if it were to switch to Linux, one could also switch to open maps, long-term privacy policy. So one of the challenges with open maps, at least in my experience in the past, the addressing sucks. If you need to find an address on open maps, good luck with that. There was a service that allowed you to convert addresses to maps or addresses to coordinates, but that required Google Play services, so you couldn't do that as an option either. Now, some countries, Open Maps is better than others. Open Maps, though, is really, really good for if you know the geolocation or if you're going to places that are like trails, like all the national park trails are on Open Maps. A lot of your state park trails are on Open Maps, like random trails in your town. If you have bike trails in your town, they're probably on Open Maps. So it works, just not if you're looking for a specific address, which is why I recommend the car GPSs, because they work really well. Here, XFC is dropping Xlove, replacing it with Rust and Wayland. Lord help us all. Taxpayer-funded AI is misused to attack our mental health, which may lead to similar symptoms and violence. Yes, I would agree with that. People who work at Google have specific people they target mostly for their affiliates and enablers. They misuse the tech for their own ends. They don't go after criminals with some mass flagging system, and they do target specific biologically interested parents for estrangement. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some bad people that do weird things. Russians in general don't need to spy. They talk to us and report back to the mother Russia openly. There you go. Right. Cat bum outside is annoying, causes sinus infections, and also harms my personal mental health. What? Did my cat moon everybody again? I wasn't paying attention. All right, let's see. Oh dear, I didn't leave a comment anywhere. I have no earthly idea where we are. Oh, I did. Okay, there we go. I found me. Never bought Garmin devices. I found them to be rubbish and reused them. Okay. I've had good luck with all my Garmin stuff. I get an average of like 15 years off of those things. Take that slop out of the screen. I'm sorry, which slop was it? The Windows phone? I'm not sure. Firefox Auto Link Clicker does it for me. There you go. All right. I do not use red hats. Yeah, you know. Let's see. During that time, they booted up really slow and took a long time to search an address. Lord help you if you needed to add a stop in the middle of a route. Yeah, I mean, my new one particularly is quite amazing at that. There's ways, I guess. Yep. Ads. I don't see many ads since I started using Ad Nauseum, which is with its built-in uBlock origin tools. Yep. Red hats cannot be trusted. Yeah. Use a Chris Titus provided script in uBlock origin to hide your YouTube shorts. Yeah, there you go. Actual Indians, not AI or artificial intelligence, I guess. Yep. Please, someone create the AI blocker. Yeah. You find Christ Titus, I think you mean Chris Titus, to be a bit annoying on the stopwatch channel. Is DistroTube been bought by big tech? I don't know. You remember the link I can't share here, sadly. Let's see. Delusions are fun. They keep things enjoyable. Life improved once I quit. So the horrible side effects that came with it. There you go. Yeah. There's been an FBI van around my house. Uh-oh. Was it me? Couldn't believe a friend of mine fell for the British relative passed away scam and wired someone like $200. Yeah. Oh, dear. Mom got a pop-up from a Facebook post that said she had a virus and to call this number to fix it, and she called. Thankfully, I called while she was on the phone with them trying to get ready to get remote access. So, yeah, like Facebook is so bad. Like, I manage the one Facebook account for one of my clients, and right now the latest thing is for them to use Meta's AI logo as their picture and say they're from Meta's AI team. And, you know, I got 6 different people all saying they're from Meta's AI team telling us that our account has been flagged. And if we don't act now, our account will get deleted. I'll be right on that. Army RC, insect spy camera. Yeah, they did that too. More like artificial idiocracy. Yes. And no, actual idiocracy. There's nothing artificial about the stupidity these days. It's actual, man. AI should be blocked for misleading information. Yep. Oh, it's a warmish day, 28C. Yeah, hey, man. Come down here to Arizona with me. It's pretty warm down in southern Arizona. All right. Really missed my CD drive, missed my laptop CD drive. Well, I mean, you can always just buy one. They're like $15-20. You can buy an external CD drive. I did not miss when you could listen to music without a subscription. Yep, you can still listen to music without a subscription. They you know, those radio waves, they still happen. I think you actually get less ads than Spotify too. Like, really. Download music and video through a little flatpak called Unrude. Oh, by Unrude, called Video Downloader. Yep. Love seeing Leak spin back in the day. Had so many CDs back in the day. I did not label them. Never knew what I was about to hear. There you go. Phone has 80 gigabytes running through the VLC player on Motorola. Bunch of people saying they do not want those glasses. Beast time. Yep. Watched in a long time. Well, thanks for coming on back, Falling Family. Yep. So I wanted to get one. They seem hard to find in Australia. You can actually, if you look up I forget what the name of the video is, but I do have a tribute to the kitty on the channel. You'll look for it back in late November. You'll find the video with the kitty. All right, Google Maps font is too tiny, so zoom in, try to read it easier, but Google keeps on shrinking the font. Yep. Yeah, that is one of the things that Google Maps does tend to do. When do you get to watch you change your beard color? I mean, I was going to go with bright hot pink tomorrow. What do y'all think? No, I think I'm going to, if I have time, I'm going to trim it on Saturday. Should I shave it off? I've had the beard for almost a whole year now. Should I shave it off? Go back to Babyface McGee here, or just trim it? Or should I just let it grow big and huge? I watched one of the videos I did when back when I had it for like 6 months without trimming it, and it was like huge. I'm like, my God, that was so bad. It was kind of crazy. Is that the CJ one? Purple is hot. Wow. I'm gonna get a purple beard just for you. That's what we're gonna do. Do it. Purple it is. All right, I think we hit the bottom of our comments. Looks like we did, so we will wrap this show up here. Thank you all for watching. We will see you all next week, and have yourself a blessed week. Shave it off, and the people will scream. There you go. I don't know. Would you rather I shave it off or color it purple? I'll color it purple and say my pronouns are Zer. All right, guys. We will catch you all later.